Maybe that'll summon Deox. Oh, my connection is
So, we
excellent.
live?
Well, I think we're live. It says we're live, but I'll wait till I start
Well,
seeing people in the side before we begin.
I was actually surprised you hadn't made a trailer for this for this release.
I didn't have enough time before
Y-
Christmas. I was
You
literally
you
working
should
on
still
things
do
until like,
one.
well, I guess I can try to, but I feel like it'd be more useful if we tried to fix all the bugs and stuff. And I don't know, maybe I can make a
We can't
trailer for
always
it.
have everything,
I
right?
want the UI trailer.
I'm not even
I
sure how I'd
spent a
do
month doing that.
a specific UI trailer. Like, would I have the camera like zoom in on the UI? uh, all right. Well, looks like wow, we're already getting quite a few people popping in. Can you guys hear us in the chat?
They can. They
All right,
should be able
cool.
to hear it.
Welcome.
Is anyone gonna link? Wait, maybe I should link it. Hold on.
Yeah, we'll let you do it. Normally Deox is the guy who links the stream, but I don't know if he'll be joining us today or not. All right, cool. At least some people can hear us in the chat. I'll let a few more people roll on in, and then we'll get started. Cool. Let me see if I can
maybe
figure
I'll
out
join
how
here.
much of a delay there is between us and the audience. So according to YouTube, it's at 1 minute and 38 seconds, and according to OBS, it's at 1:45. So we're probably about like 10 seconds ahead of everyone in the stream, give or take.
That's not too bad.
What's the water sound? Oh, there's a little tiny water fountain in the room I'm in that like it's for the cats to drink out of. I'm surprised you could hear that. It's all the way on. It's really quiet on my end, but that's what the water sounds are. If it's annoying, I can go turn it off until I'm done though. So if you guys in the chat are annoyed at the little water sounds, let me know. I'll go turn it off. Gives it some ambiance. He's in a
Silence.
sensory deprivation chamber. Anyway, we got 20 viewers, so I guess we can start now. Hello everyone. I hope you guys all had a nice Christmas. I guess I'll ask you guys how your Christmas was. I haven't asked you guys yet.
Who goes first?
Who wants to go
Ascaris.
first? Ascaris?
Askers is the real German boy.
He's the
I
real.
Let him go
say.
first.
How was your Christmas, Ascaris?
It
It was all right.
it was the first Christmas for over 15 years where I didn't get a new video game, so it, it I don't know what to do.
You don't know what to do.
What
I
is
always,
life?
I always had a video game I could play it for and relax and don't work, and now I did Hyrule Conquest work all the time.
I didn't get a new video game either. I usually get a new video game every year too. I guess I should let people, like some people in the audience actually don't know who you are. I think so. I should actually introduce everyone in the audience. The person who just spoke was Ascaris, who's done a lot of the kind of scripting and coding work for the last, I think, 6 months now. He's gotten a bunch of stuff to work.
Yes.
Him and Exo Darian have been doing that stuff, and Exo is also in the stream. And Odysseus is in the stream. Him and I have been doing the balancing stuff. And then, sadly, we don't have Deox with us today. We don't have our resident lore master. He might pop in the stream. I don't know. I haven't heard from him in a while, so he may or may not sneak into the stream or not. But all right. I guess who's next for their Christmas? I guess I'll go last. Exo, how was your
Okay.
Christmas?
It was good. A lot of food. But rather mundane to go into the details, to be honest.
He wants
But,
to talk about Hyrule Conquest.
We'll get to
I'm
Hyrule
literally gonna
Conquest in
talk
like
about-
5
Who cares
minutes.
about my Christmas?
All right. Well, if you don't care about your Christmas, I guess we could skip you.
Go
Ouch.
into Odysseus. He can
Yeah,
talk
this
about
is
his
how
family.
is your Christmas, or do you want to be skipped too?
Oh, you got skipped too.
You
Poor
do you want
guy.
to skip? I don't know if you want to. I don't know if you guys don't
No,
care
no.
about your Christmases. That's
No,
fine.
my
I'll just-
Christmas was pretty modest too. Normally, I would spend some time with family and friends, but can't really do that this year. So too bad. But had some some good food, some good wine.
Sadly,
swell.
I don't have any exciting stories either. I basically just made some biscuits and ate dinner with the family, and I got a new microphone for Christmas, which I'm using now.
Oh well, one thing I did, I ordered a new chair for Christmas. That's
You
the
ordered
one
a new
thing
chair?
That is hype as hell.
I ordered a Secret Lab chair. Not sure if you're familiar with that brand.
That's super hyped.
All right.
Yeah, it
I
looks
also
good.
need a
So
chair.
anyway, we should go to Hyrule Conquest.
All right. Let's, I guess, go to Hyrule Conquest then. So yeah, there's a new version of Hyrule Conquest out. Yay!
Yay.
It's also a new version of my Stairfax game out too for the 3 people who were interested in that. I didn't have enough time to make a trailer for either of them. I'm sorry, I didn't. So this is, I guess, the official trailer for now. For you all sound like I've been alive for centuries. I don't know if it's a compliment or
Yeah.
not. What does that even mean? King of Spoons asks, is there Christmas in Hyrule? Well, they do have a winter solstice kind of celebration. They don't specifically have Christmas, though, because as far as I know, Christ didn't really die in Hyrule, or he wasn't born in Hyrule. Although, funnily enough, in the first Zelda game and the second Zelda game, there's crucifixes, and there's a crucifix with Christ on it. So, I don't know, maybe there is Christmas in Hyrule.
We should talk about what's in this new version, probably.
Sure, I guess
First.
we'll start with the big stuff and work our way to the small stuff.
All right, let's just go from the list that Asker's made. So we'll start with the heroes, I suppose. New heroes, 3 new heroes.
Yeah, we got a bunch of
Very
new
effective.
heroes, which
Oh right, yeah.
I think I showed almost all of them in one of my last videos. But yeah, all those heroes have been added. Apparently, Ceres is a little broken though.
Who?
Ceres, apparently she can't heal most units like she's supposed to.
Oh, actually, I noticed that healing in general is broken. It seems like we rarely use it, so you don't really notice it very quickly. But I believe I had Ceres just for funsies, and I just couldn't heal anyone. It just didn't work.
I have a
There's, no buttons
suspicion
to
it's
do anything.
because I need to look in the parent template, but I have a feeling it's because the class that's set for them to heal is human, and we don't use the human class anymore.
That
So it
might
probably
be it,
just
yeah.
needs to be set to organic, not human. I think I changed it to organic.
That's probably why then.
Or a kid is asking if we have a Discord. Yes, I will link to the public Discord. Let me where is my Discord? I know I have it open because I'm talking to you guys on it. Let me go find see invite people.
Yeah. Give everyone a free link to the patron Discord.
No, I've accidentally done that before though. I accidentally gave people a link to my private Discord that I didn't mean to. Here is
Regarding
a link
healing,
to the Discord. Hopefully that's the right Discord. Anyway,
What was that about
I,
healing?
I think healing is not that important right now, as we still don't have battalion replenishment, and I think Ceres might maybe get an active ability to replenish a battalion or something like that.
maybe, yeah.
Could be interesting.
I feel
Sure.
like replenishing battalions might suit like characters who are military commanders, and it kind of like represents them summoning, rallying new troops to the cause, I suppose. maybe could work for all the heroes. I don't know. Ceres to me is more of like a low level like healer, I guess, rather than a commander. But I guess we'll talk about that when we get replenishing, in which maybe that's one of the next things we should add is replenishing battalions.
It's a pretty big deal.
So, yeah, we
Although-
we were talking about. Wait, what? Okay, you go ahead first then.
Yeah.
Okay. I figured you could also argue that, you know, you don't have to have replenishment. It's not essential, I would argue. But we've decided that we would go for it anyway,
I
right?
want replenishment.
Yeah.
I also think it would be a good way to use the territory too, because territory is kind of useless at the moment now that we got rid of capturing.
Yeah.
I think territory being what determines where you can replenish your armies, I think is a pretty good use for the territory.
I mean, I haven't looked at territory yet, so I really need to rework the radii and how techs influence the territory generation, etc.
We could talk about it now or later, but should we decide if territory should be static or dynamic now, or would you rather talk about other things?
TLDR, dynamic.
Dynamic. Okay, I guess we'll save it for another time then. But I guess to let
Yeah.
people in the audience know, we're kind of just randomly talking about Hyrule Conquest stuff. I guess. I guess we can do a Q&A
Maybe-
when everyone's burned out and doesn't want to talk
Yeah.
anymore. I guess I can switch to a Q&A. And if Deox ever shows up, him and I can ramble about the Nohansons and their ancestors for 3 hours if he ever shows up.
Well,
Maybe,
you made
maybe we can find a nice transition later.
you did link to your map 3.0, I believe. Was that not
Oh,
today or
yeah.
yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday
And-
I finally decided, okay, it's done until 2025, and I posted it finally. The map, the updated map.
That entire overview, that is going to be the way that I would assume the Total War map is going to be
Yes,
implemented, right?
the wonderful
That- yeah,
campaign
okay.
map. No
The
idea
campaign
when
missions,
exactly we'll get
call
that
them.
in. I know
Or not
Ascaris
missions.
is really excited for that map, though.
I think he's gonna do heroes abilities first, and replenishment of battalions, and corpse interaction.
And you're maybe
So-
gonna do some
Sounds
stealth.
And
Uh,
many other things.
There are many other things that need happening.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ascaris and I briefly talked about finally adding a corpse system into the game. Actually, the way he posted it last night, I thought he was actually done with it. I'm like, holy crap, that was fast, but no, he's not done with it yet. I misunderstood. So yeah, the corpses
excited.
will probably be added in pretty soon. So yeah, over the next few months, I guess we're gonna just add in a bunch of new features that aren't in 0AD yet.
Well, we have everything for corpses in place already, and all we need is active hero abilities to revive them.
Yeah.
I mean, Goma already can harvest corpses if all units, when they die, simply spawn
A hidden resource.
a resource entity like a bush, but that looks like a corpse.
Right. All organic units anyway. I guess we'll figure out how the Moblins thing will work too. Have you ever played Command and Conquer Generals? Any of you?
No.
Damn.
Briefly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have
Oh.
played a few matches.
Do you remember in Command and Conquer Generals, if you played as the GLA, how if you drove their vehicles over like destroyed vehicles, it would like upgrade them with better weapons and stuff?
I always played China.
Oh. Oh well,
I'm
never.
sorry.
The one person
I
who
always
might
made
understand
those,
my example. Damn it. Well, that's kind of a feature I think the Moblins would have is basically they go over the corpses of enemies and like scavenge their armor and weapons and stuff, and then it promotes them into a better version of themselves, like the GLA. I think that would be an
but I
awesome
want to-
feature.
Looting.
I want to make that an active ability.
Cool.
So that you have to walk near corpses, then you click that button, and then the game checks if there are enough corpses around to loot, and then they upgrade.
Nice. Alternatively, maybe it could be done with an aura. I didn't even think about that. Like the corpse has a little aura that triggers
No,
the
no,
change.
no. That's I don't want to use auras. That's for because of performance
Oh
reasons.
Yeah,
yeah.
or us are expensive.
I actually didn't.
So
I didn't realize auras were that expensive or that taxing
yeah,
on the. All right. Well,
they're
never mind.
they're pretty bad.
I
They're
know
overall
I
pretty
know
bad.
global ones are like the fairy one, but I didn't realize the local ones were that draining.
Global ones are expensive. I think they are cheap because they don't need ranged queries.
Oh, so the global ones, I don't know. I noticed I had some small performance issues with when I gave the fairies the global aura, but maybe that's just on my end.
Oh, you did? I don't
Yeah.
know,
Um.
but yeah.
Well, I will leave you to decide the best method of going about moblin scavenging. Then I personally, I'm not really attached to how it's pulled off, as long as
We're
yeah,
kind of spitballing here.
yeah. This is basically spitballing. So yeah,
But
well,
yeah,
the corpse system is
well,
one of the new things we'll be adding.
for the for this version, basically there are new heroes for every faction, right? Except for the Lysalvos, I believe. Just the Lysalvos don't have new heroes.
They might get them right.
I'll think about.
Yeah, but that's not for
I'll
this
think
version.
about it. No, not in this
That's
version. The Lizzlefoss are
you
the
can
only
select.
faction that don't have any new heroes because they have a ton of gods they can pick from. Although Odysseus has kind of maybe convinced me that they still should have two more heroes.
Well, in any case, you can now select 3 heroes at the start of the game, and so the entire system with regards to that has been overhauled.
Well, you can
Uh,
choose how many you want to select.
yeah, that too. But I
That's
mean, you overhauled it, right? For the
Yeah.
that's the whole point. Like you overhauled the hero selection screen and
Yeah, that was
the
Ascaris'
flexibility
doing.
of it.
All the new user interface in the game now, it's all thanks to Ascaris. The hero
I am
selection screen,
I'm
all the. I mean the actual graphics, but he like
I
did all
am
the.
yeah.
You what?
I'm so happy that you decided to finally,
Do the
make
UI.
custom UI, make custom UIs, because
I know that's
That's
something
so
you've
cute.
been wanting for a
I
very,
saw
very long time.
this is something, the whole UI setup. I just couldn't really find the energy to do it, and I had so many other things on my mind, and so Askers just went on a whim and he just said, I'm just gonna implement the entire UI, like complete from scratch, new interface. And so now we have a Total War-esque interface, and it's all working as it should, in my opinion. And then you added the whole new UI. I think it really adds to the mod as a whole. Like you start a game, like the moment you start a new game now, it feels like a different game, almost. Like we're going further and further away from Zero AD. Like someone who has only played Zero AD, then plays a Hyrule Conquest match, gets a completely different experience now. Also from the way that the UI plays.
Yeah, I think of
So
all the new things
Yeah.
in the new release, the UI is my favorite thing. It was very last minute too. I remember
Yes.
we kind of threw the idea out there, and I'm like, maybe we'll do the UI for the next version, and then like the next day, Ascaris is like, "Oh, I got the new UI for each faction to work. Here you go." And I'm like, "Oh crap, you really?" And I had to like try and finish it all before Christmas. I had only a few days to finish it all. But so I guess we can blame the UI on the fact there's not a new trailer.
It was a last minute change.
It was a very last minute thing to this version. Was me doing the UI for all the factions.
and then you came up with seasonal UI for
Seasonal
the fairies.
UI for the fairies.
And
yeah.
I was, what? Shut up! And
10 seconds later, you're like, here it is.
population icons and
Oh yeah, even I never expect you to add a population icons. And another thing I hadn't noticed before I started up the new master version was that you added the Triforce icons to the buttons when you hover over them.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, for the people who have trouble with the UI with regards to size, it's because the Ascaris adapted the UI to the. I believe you did a percentage, right? So what did you do pixel?
What?
Did you base it on pixel or percentage?
Percentage was the Patreon release, but that didn't work out well, and I had to make it pixel based. And if the UI is too big for some of you, then it's because the the Zero ID UI was based on 1024 pixel width, and my UI is targets full HD, so 1920 pixels. And if that's too big for you, then you have to set a custom scaling factor, and uh, you can make the UI smaller. That goes into the uh, user.cfg file for Hyrule Conquest.
That's in app data, right?
I have no idea where it's in Windows.
I'll give it a
I'm
check
not
then.
sure where exactly the
some-
file is.
Some person on Discord posted the link, the folder structure.
I will look for it
Oh, it's
after
right
the stream,
here.
I guess.
It's
Should
it's
probably
in
take that.
it's in app data roaming.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
looking at it right now. Yeah, someone found it and got it to work.
Yeah, so there
Config
is
default.
there is a scaling factor there for the UI,
It's
and
GUI.scale.
Who
yeah,
what?
GUI.
Oh.
GUI.scale.
GUI.scale, and then set it to 0.8 or something like that. Just figure out what's best for your resolution.
Hopefully that answers that question. I see quite a few questions off in the side. Let me scroll back up and see if I can find the first one. Someone says Lana looks like a guy in Asian cosplay. Well, she looked like an anime cosplayer in the original game she was from. What other?
She actually kind of does look like a dude in cosplay.
She is
Yeah.
modeled after an Asian woman, though, so specifically a Korean woman. But let me see where are some of the other questions.
Well,
I saw a
can
few. Where'd they
answer.
go? I hate the little chat thing in the side. It's so hard to keep track of things because when I
Well,
scroll
I
down,
can
it'll like
answer.
jump.
I can answer two questions.
All right, what are two of them?
One question is, if corpses could be harvested, would the resources be variable, or would that be too complex? That's pretty easy, and I think we could do that. So we could maybe make it so that organic units spawn a corpse that will give meat, and uh, others will give bones or leather or goma chitin or goma acid, and harvest different materials from that.
Yeah, it's not too well. I'm certain
It's
you can give an entity multiple resources, but if a unit
no,
can, go on.
one resource. If a unit, if for example a goma dies, then the corpse will give goma acid, and if a moblin dies, it will give moblin skin and give material instead of meat.
But
Or
do you want that to be actually customized? Um, materials or resources, because we have 4 resources in the game, but you also have different resource types for
Yes.
every full resource.
It would be a resource type then, and only the
Yeah.
Goma could harvest that.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I assumed.
Yeah.
So,
So
it's the same thing. It's the same thing you did with the Goron sirloin.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Exactly.
And that's actually pretty easy to do.
Yeah, I don't see it being too difficult. So I guess someone's asked me if I've played Age of Calamity. I haven't played it. I watched a few scenes from it, and then I decided to never see it again. I guess that gives you my opinion on it. It's pretty facepalm worthy from what I saw. I watched
played it a
the
little.
intro cutscene. I watched a few smaller scenes. I watched the ending scene, which was hilariously bad. And then I think the point I stopped is when Link eats molten rocks. I'm just like, no, I'm done. I just stopped watching stuff, and I decided this game isn't for me. I'm never gonna play it. I mean, I kind of knew before I even saw anything from it that I wasn't gonna like it, but it ended up being even dumber than I thought. What other questions were there? I keep losing track of the questions. Speaking of Gorons, are they getting?
Yeah.
Huh? What?
No, I was gonna read that question. Go ahead.
Are they gonna get the new weapons from Breath of the Wild? Well, they currently have like Daruk has his sword from that game, and the Goron workers can be upgraded to have their drills. So there's already there's been two Goron things from that game in Hyrule Conquest for like 2 years now.
I mean, if we can find a place for more, then I don't see a problem.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many Goron weapons in that game though. I think there's Daruk's sword, which isn't even a sword. It's like a weird. I can't even
It's a paddle.
I had yeah, it's like a paddle. I had to redesign it because I could not comprehend how that thing worked. And then they had the drill things from that game, and if I remember right, there was some kind of fire sword or something that they had in that. I don't remember. I don't remember too many Goron weapons in that game. Or a kid says, I played BOTW for the first time yesterday. Not really my game. Yeah, it's not my game either. I don't really like it that much. It's better than Skyward Sword, I guess. I guess I'd rather play Breath of the Wild than Skyward Sword if I had to
just
pick.
take the concepts. That's all.
Yeah, I've always taken things and tried to turn them into something interesting. So like Skyward Sword's probably the Zelda game I hate the most, and I've taken a lot of stuff from it and tried to tweak it into something I thought was interesting. Like Girahim and Hylia are in Hyrule Conquest. I hope that if you guys want to talk about Age of Calamity in the chat, maybe I'll save it for a different stream. I don't think have any of you guys played Age of Calamity at all?
Nope.
Nope.
I
know
played it
Deox
a little.
has, so if Deox shows up, maybe him and I can talk about it for a bit. But wait, did you say you played it, Ascaris?
Yes.
Oh, you've played it?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Do you have any
but-
opinions?
But not
Here we go. Open the floodgates.
to be honest, I like the first Hyrule Warriors a lot, but the Age of Calamity is not too interesting for me. Maybe I'll continue playing it, but I didn't even play through the whole story mode.
Wow.
I don't find it too interesting.
If I remember
And,
right, you actually you really liked Breath of the Wild, right?
Yes, I did.
That's interesting that you couldn't even get through Age of Calamity. That actually kind of
But-
interests me.
You know, this is a Warriors game, and Link is just boring. And
Savage.
you know, I find some of those, they did a great job in the first Hyrule Warriors game, where they made all the older characters, but I find the Breath of the Wild characters pretty boring, and they somehow forced them to have those huge epic moveset, but Link is absolutely ridiculous. With his common sword, doing
No wonder all the
stuff.
weapons break in Breath of the Wild. They were all damaged in Age of Calamity from all the super moves. Yeah. Well, all right. That's kind of interesting. Because I know you like Breath of the Wild a lot. I suspected you might actually like Age of Calamity. That's kind of interesting that you're not really phased by it that much.
Well, the story is just not good, and maybe the story is good, but the storytelling and how they made it is just not good, in my opinion.
I agree with you completely. That's my problem with the game, really, is that part of it. That's basically been my problem with Zelda for like the last decade.
There is nothing exciting about it. In in the first Hyrule Warriors game, I liked playing as Midna or as Skull Kid or Ganondorf and
So what you're
all.
trying to say is the characters in Breath of the Wild are boring cardboard bland cutouts compared to characters
Yes.
from others. All right, thank you. I agree with you, by the way. Yeah. All right. I guess, but yeah, if you guys in the chat really want like an Age of Calamity thing, I guess Deox and I can do one. I don't know, maybe I can watch some more. I don't think I'm ever gonna play it though. I know I won't enjoy it, and I don't want to waste my money on it. If I can get it for free, maybe I'll play it. Cause sometimes I have some friends that sometimes will lend me stuff for free, but I don't know. Maybe Deox and I will do it.
Yeah, I think we should go back
Yeah,
to
it's Hyrule Conquest.
Conquest.
TLDR, Age of Calamities doesn't seem that good, even to Ascaris, who really likes Breath of the Wild. But anyway, back to Hyrule Conquest. So where were we actually? I think we were talking about corpses last.
We were talking about new UI, and then okay, so there are now civil center nodes that
Yeah.
you can capture in the game. It's more Battle for Middle-earth style for those who are familiar with that game. If you're not, I mean, you should definitely go out there and play it. I mean, what are you doing with your life? But
Well, it's actually
aside from that,
it's really hard
What?
it's really hard to legally get Battle for Middle Earth 1 and 2. They're super expensive.
it actually is. It
Yeah.
actually is nowadays. It's
It's
difficult to get your
It's
hands
very
on it.
hard. It took me forever to get the Rise of the Witch King for Battle for Middle Earth 2. It took me forever to get it at a price that wasn't hundreds of dollars. It's really hard to get those games for some reason. But people are remaking it in Unreal right now, so that might be a
Yeah.
interesting way to play Battle for Middle Earth whenever that
Uh,
comes out.
Battle for Middle-earth Reforged, I think it's called.
Yeah.
They're remaking it. But
I mean,
yeah,
I
so
heard the license dropped after 10 years, but
It has been
uh,
over 10
we-
years, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Jeez.
yeah, for sure. And I mean, also the fact that even still they could get into trouble because they're basically screwing with an original IP. But we should probably not get into this because you're
Yeah.
gonna start a fight more.
yeah, I was just basing off that game because that's where they have this this idea as well. with
Yeah, the
nodes.
Civil Center nodes.
Um,
That idea
Civil Center node.
specifically came from Battle for Middle Earth.
Yeah.
I'm
So
fairly
they're-
certain. I'm fairly certain here that almost nobody likes EA. So let's just
Yeah.
let's just drop the subject and continue.
All right.
So you can capture preset points on the map, and there you can convert that into your own civil centers. And when you destroy a civil center, you can recapture that node for yourself, your own benefits on the map.
Yep.
So yeah, there's been a lot of rebalancing, like proper rebalancing for the Hylians, the Gerudo, the Gorons, and the Zora, I believe. Like a
Yeah.
complete overhaul with
Mostly.
regard, stats, complete streamlining of the stats. New look at the techs. New look at. Have you done
Not
techs?
no partially. Uh,
That's my fault that
maybe
the text didn't get in time.
maybe maybe I should take over here.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I've spent the most time working on the Hylians, and they are the most complete, I would say right now. They're still not finalized. A lot of units got their stats checked. Most of their technologies are more properly priced. So if you want to get an idea how, if you play multiplayer, for example, what the prices of technologies are as a standard, you could look at the Hylians. They're kind of the beginner faction, the golden standard, which you can compare to most of the other factions. Um, a lot of their techs are kind of similar to what they were before. I don't know if I've done all of them yet, but most of them. And then from there on, the amount of work done diminishes. So I did I did less work on the Grudo and even less work on the Gorons and so forth. But I'm working on it with Nephy, obviously.
Did you fix that the Goron? What was it? The guy who throws the bombs?
What
The bomb throwers.
Yeah.
what was the problem?
They had
Oh,
an
the
attack
machine
speed
gun
of
thing.
0.
That was
Oh
my
yeah, yeah,
fault. That was because
yeah.
of
Nephy.
Dan Gro's when if you picked Dangaro, one of his bonuses is he improves the attack rate of bomb throwers and powder keg launchers and some other things, and I put the wrong value. It was supposed to be like 0.90 and I put 0.10. So basically it gave them a
Yeah.
90% increase to their fire rate. So yeah, they were like throwing bombs like their arms were machine guns.
Neff has a tendency to put an extra zero somewhere it doesn't belong. The same goes for Labrana, actually. Nerfed all the
Yeah.
I
guns,
mean, didn't the Conquerors had what, like 800 pierce damage?
something like that. You could
First
one
shot.
shot
Whoops.
everything.
And they're almost pixel perfect with their accuracy because the velocity of the bullets are so fast.
Yeah, but I
Um,
I basically I compared them to the Kingdom Crossbowmen from the Hylians and rebalanced them accordingly. So they have their own thing now.
Laverna
So it's
shouldn't
just
be
basically
one-shotting buildings with their guns now.
no. They should be not so frustrating anymore. Um, but yeah, the it's a lot of work, so it takes a lot of time.
I don't think we've ever we no, okay, I have done a balance overhaul a long time ago, and I think that was for 0.4. But I think at this point we are approaching balancing from a way more thorough perspective than we've ever done before. Because you're
Yeah,
focusing on it, right? That's what you're doing.
yeah, pretty much. It takes it's surprising in the way, even for me, that you think, oh, I'll just change a couple of technologies, but then you realize you have to keep the other factions in mind, and you have to double check, and then you easily waste a couple of hours just constantly checking and cross checking. So all I can say is that balance takes a lot of time, and we also, you know, we have a multiplayer community, but they're on a separate Discord, I think.
Yeah, they are. They have their
Yeah,
own Discord.
we
Yep.
should probably integrate these guys somewhere down the line, get them on the stream.
Yeah. I've had Iron Wolf on these streams before.
Yeah,
I assume you're referring to Iron Wolf's Discord.
for example, yeah, I don't know if there's more. I've just been so focused on slowly tweaking all the stats, and I mentioned in a previous stream that a lot of the statistics are being simplified. So the reason was, I would imagine it would be easier for most people to just read a small number compared to larger numbers. But then
Yeah.
I need to tweak basically everything. So
Unless we want to turn it to a Korean MMO. I'm just kidding.
your unit does an arbitrary 7,676 damage. What does that mean? I have no idea.
Anyway, yeah,
But
I'm
yeah,
seeing more questions in the side. Looks like lore stuff though. Too bad Deox isn't here.
yeah.
Someone's asking, do you think Link would marry Zelda? Yes. If you mean my canonical or my version, then yes. If you mean the Nintendo one, I highly doubt you'll ever see them get married or anything like that because Nintendo are retarded cowards. They're too afraid to portray anything like that. In Hyrule Conquest, yeah, they probably would get married.
That is implied sexy time. You can't do that to kids.
Yeah, never mind that in some other Nintendo games like Fire Emblem, there's all kinds of insanity with their family trees and stuff, and incest and crazy Game of Thrones shit.
Yeah, well, this is this and that is that. So
Someone's
Well-
also asking about the water sound again. Yes, I do have a water fountain in here. If it is annoying, I can go turn it off.
I really don't hear any of that water that
Me
they're
neither.
talking about.
Yeah, I can barely hear
But,
it too. My microphone, I don't know, might be picking it up and making it louder or something. This is a new microphone, so I'm guessing it's more sensitive, or I haven't messed with its settings because that fountain sound is no one's ever pointed it out before until now.
So there have also been some faction-specific changes to the Goma eggs,
Oh yeah,
I think
Asker's
Goma
got
can
those to
fix.
Oh
work.
yeah.
and there's a new Deku Scrub basis now, which was actually a botched experiment, and now we've given it to the to the Deku
Yeah,
Scrub.
it was intended for the Zora, but it ended up when I was it was meant for the Zora aqueducts, and then I gave it to the Zora and I was testing it out, and I'm like, this would fit the Deku Scrubs better because the Deku Scrub buildings are like perfect square shapes, and the system kind of lended itself to like a grid sort of thing, like a very square grid sort of layout, which the Deku Scrub bases are already set up to be. So I'm like, this will work for the Deku Scrubs perfectly. So yeah, it was an experiment for the aqueducts.
We still need the upgrade for
Oh yeah, the towers. I knew I forgot something.
for the empty tiles.
I knew I forgot something. I guess I'll try and
Yeah.
add that to the hotfix.
Well, those features haven't really been implemented to the point where they really have a large impact on the gameplay, as far as I know. Like not to that degree, right? Like what is like how much has changed with regards to the Goma with these changes?
It's just a tech demo, the Goma.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was expecting it to be.
And I fixed houses spawning battalions now instead of 5 individual units. So that's a fix. And
Nice.
the queen now, I just added some eggs so she has some value and isn't completely useless.
Yeah, she can lay larvae, and then the queen hero can lay the larger sized eggs, and then I guess we. My nose is getting really stuffy now, so I apologize if I sound like an elephant. But eventually, we'll figure out what to do with the Goma. If like all their units should be trained from eggs, or if they should still get units from buildings, or I mean, I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
we'll
the
probably
queens will always
find
lay eggs, but
I think we'll find a mix somewhere. That's my prediction.
maybe their largest units are created in buildings, and their smaller units are all created by the queens.
Yeah.
I
Something
mean,
like that.
I
maybe.
assume
Or vice versa.
I assume you have discussed some Goma related design with Neph.
Yeah,
Him and
yeah,
I
we
did, but we didn't really settle on anything because the egg laying wasn't working at the time him and I discussed them. And now that the egg laying
yep.
is working, we probably have to
We'll
go back
probably
to the Goma
just
again.
yeah.
All right. So
Oh,
the
it's actually before we change subject. There's also there's also a lot of design work and discussion going on behind the scenes, uh, mostly between Neff and I. But we're just making sure that all the factions, can compete with each other. That's that's basically the gist of it. For anyone who cares, just thought I'd point it out there.
Yeah, we don't want one to be too powerful.
And
Um,
we also want to make sure that all the factions have like their own little gimmicks and stuff. So because we had problems before, technical problems with the eggs before, we were forced to put the unit recruitment into buildings. But I was like really sad about it because
me too.
the if there's a faction that lays eggs, it's Goma. It's the Goma. So I consider it an essential part of their identity. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
so
definitely
now that
want to
it's
lean more
back,
towards eggs. And now the eggs work even better because they hatch automatically without the player having to click a bunch of stuff, courtesy of
yeah,
Ascaris,
it's just
which helps a
it's just
lot
great.
because the Goma eggs were just they were too micro and before we added battalions and broke the eggs, they were way too micro intensive. You had to click so many times just to train units. But now
Yeah,
all you have to do is just click on the egg and place it, and then it'll after the training time, it'll just hatch on its own without having to
yeah.
click a bunch of things. So I'm
It's
yeah,
kind
I'm
of
definitely gonna lean more towards the eggs than training them from buildings.
yeah, it's kind of supposed to be a bit more micro intensive, but before that it was too micro intensive. Agree.
Yeah.
And there were also all kinds of population bugs and
Yeah, which the
yeah.
population bugs seem fixed. Although there's still it's been fixed since the release, but there was a way to break the Goma population with their buildings. I think Asker's fixed it just today.
I fixed it right now.
Yeah, so
Nice.
not that long ago.
You should seriously consider a raise for him,
Consider
a
a what for
salary,
them?
a raise in his salary.
A raise in salary. Well,
He's been doing the work.
yep. We'll discuss
Give me
that.
more walls.
Give me more walls. I guess the Oka will be your favorite faction.
Wait, they haven't been demoted?
No, I haven't demoted the Oka yet. I feel like there's too many cool gameplay things for the Oka to really demote them.
Nukes and lasers.
No,
Really?
more like Space Marine drops.
Yeah.
The
And
Oko,
that
when you set the Oka's rally point, they won't come out of the building and then walk to the rally point. They'll drop from the sky onto the rally point. So you'll be able to drop their units like anywhere on the map, like Space Marines from Warhammer.
for the Emperor.
I hear Odysseus thinking like, "Oh God, this is gonna be impossible to balance." Not
Yeah.
all of their units will be able to drop from the sky. They're late game units. There.
No, I'm actually pretty excited for them.
I think that's too cool of a gameplay feature to demote them. Even though the
Ooh.
Oka probably really should be demoted. Um,
Demoko got demoted.
Demoko, no, not they haven't been demoted yet. I've demoted I have demoted some factions, and I consider promoting the Yiga, but they're still a minor faction. Um, I also actually we talked about it. I think yesterday we talked about folding the Volvagians in with the Lizzlefoss
Yeah.
because the Volvagians got demoted to a minor faction like 6 months ago or a year ago, and then we're thinking, yeah, maybe we'll combine them with the Lizzlefoss. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of the Volvagians being a minor faction that you can conquer, and then you can just get dragons. That I don't know,
Yeah.
but that's
Super units.
undecided. Another faction that actually got demoted was the Wizrobe, cause I felt like I didn't have too many interesting ideas for them. I feel like they'd be better as a minor faction you can get that has a few mages that would be really useful for a faction that doesn't have any mages. Like I guess like the Dark Nuts or the Goma. The Goma. Oh, actually, the Goma can't conquer minor factions, so not the Goma then.
Yeah. We'll see.
Or
though.
Ordana. Ordana has no mages, so yeah, Ordana conquering the Wizrobes, they get access to like 5 different mages. So yeah. I see lots of people asking lore related questions in the chat. I guess I can try and answer them, but we should probably wait till Deox either shows up or Deox and I do a stream because he's kind of the lore guy. Let me see what some of them were. I see people asking about Zelda and Link. Link is, I think, 2 years older than Zelda in Nephy canon, if I remember right. I was debating actually with Deox like a month ago how old he should be. He thought Link should be younger, and I like no, he should be older. And I think we ended up going somewhere in the middle where he's around 18, and I think Zelda is 16 or 17. No, Zelda is 18. Link I think is 20. I think. I have it written down somewhere. I don't know. They're somewhere around there when the game starts. He's slightly older than her. I guess if you want to be technical, she's like what 5,000 years old. And I'm anyway. Any news on the Tweely? They're quite a ways off, sadly. I don't know. Maybe I should do the
Where are they
Tweely
on the
next.
map?
The Tweely aren't on the map. They're in
But,
the
like,
realm.
where would they
They're in the
enter?
Tweely realm.
Oh, they don't interact with each other, the two realms, or
They do, but they're in the Tweely realm. They come through the mirrors.
right? Are you gonna map the Tweely realm, or
Yeah, I will eventually.
all right?
I just
I
the
was just
Tweely are
curious,
so far off in the future. I haven't really spent much time on them at all. I've been kind of stuck doing really boring things like well, I mean, I know you find balancing and stuff exciting, but like I want to do Tweely stuff. I don't know, maybe I'll do the Tweely next and postpone the Sheikah. I don't know. It's not like I have to do the factions in a very specific order. I guess I could do them in any order I wanted. I don't know, maybe I'll do the Tweely next instead of the Sheikah.
Yeah.
Or maybe I should do the Guardians next.
Maybe something that doesn't need too many special features.
Most of the factions left
None of
do.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing corpses, so the Stalfos, which we're going to be after the Sheikah, they're a good candidate to do next.
I think Stalfos should be next, as corpses are easy to do.
Maybe
if we
maybe I'll
get
do the
active
Stalfos before the
abilities.
Sheikah then. I don't think the River Zora need any new features. I think they would work just fine without any new features. All their stuff would work. The Oka would only need the thing I described where they drop from the sky instead of coming out of buildings. That's the only thing the Oka would need. Otherwise, they would work. Oh, they would need your wall system that you want, actually. The Oka would start with the wall around them.
That's already done.
Yeah, so the Oka would only need the rally point thing. The Guardians, I think, don't need any new features, I think. I'm trying to think if they do. So
I mean, it all depends on how much time those features need to implement. A lot of things are easy to do.
it's sounding like the Stalfos would probably be a pretty good candidate to
Well, Stalfos rely on active abilities to revive
yeah,
corpses and
yep.
So I could technically start with them.
And maybe the Stalfos will be next then instead of the Sheikah. The Sheikah just needs stealth.
No one needs stealth.
Quite a few factions need stealth. Almost every
Yeah.
faction has stealth units. Except the Hylians, I think. The Gerudo have like 2 or 3. The Kokiri have a lot. Ordana has
Kokiri can't
1.
possibly function without, to be honest.
Yeah, the Zora Scouts need to be invisible. Ordana has an invisible unit. The Ranger.
But like, just like the Sheikah, uh, most factions and those units that have the camouflage or stealth mechanics, they can function. They can function without, but a faction like the Kokiri is pretty much screwed.
Yeah, they really need to become. Yeah, the Kokiri are supposed to be balanced around the fact that a lot of their units can become invisible and hide.
Yeah.
Like they're a bunch of
Because
little kids that the
yeah.
Deku Scrubs have quite a few. I mean, Deku Scrubs need to be able to burrow into the ground and turn into flowers that people don't recognize. Like that's a main thing from Majora's Mask that they're known for is burrowing in the ground and becoming invisible.
But they do have a couple of creatures, right?
Yeah, the Deku Scrub have. I don't think any of their creature units. Oh, the Piats don't become invisible. I don't think any of the creature units that the Deku Scrubs have can become invisible. But a lot of their normal units can burrow into the ground and like I can't. I always forget. Have you played Majora's Mask, Odysseus? I know you haven't played Ocarina of Time, but I can't remember if you've played Majora's Mask or not.
Only a store demo.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember you telling me that story. In that game,
Yeah.
the Deku Scrubs burrow into the ground, and then they have that little flower, and they kind of become invisible.
Yeah.
So,
But I think the Deku Scrubs do that in most Zelda games, don't they?
yeah, in Ocarina of Time they do also. Just I know you haven't played Ocarina of Time, so I didn't
Yeah.
use it as an example.
Yeah.
I don't think the Dark Nuts have any invisible units. The
Maybe-
Moblins have
maybe- 1. Maybe in their mercenaries.
Yeah, yeah, one of their
They have a
mercenaries
full
does.
mercenary roster.
The Piku is invisible.
Right.
And then what other factions are there? I don't think Laneru has any invisible units. The Lizzlefoss have quite a few. All the Chameleon Lizzlefoss, they can all become invisible, which is like 4 or 5 of their units. So yeah, like almost every faction has a lot of units that need to become invisible. It's like it's a really important feature. And Exo's just like,
That's basically the point we're trying to make.
Yeah, it's something we really, really need, like, sooner than later.
Give stealth, please.
Oh, I guess Exo's just gonna play Mr. Silent then. If it's because you
No,
want to
okay.
preserve the meme, I'm sure we can find something else to replace it with.
I have to focus on AI. I actually wanted to talk a little bit about the AI.
Sure, we could talk about the AI if you want.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What about the AI you want to talk about?
Well, I fixed a few things with regards to the formation system. Formations getting stuck, and I've over the past few days found out a little bit more about why that is. I don't know. I know how to maybe circumvent some of it, but it has to do with just the zero AD pathfinding and the actual formation movement itself, which I have already changed over the past few days for mainly for citizen battalions because they were having issues with that, and also the AI. So no, but that the player had the same issues. Basically, the AI was just more prevalent. Was
Yeah.
more.
I mean,
it was
it's a pretty
easier
big
to see.
deal.
Yeah, it was gathering, returning resources, and building. So those 3 were a big issue. So I fixed that. And another big issue was that, which is, I guess it's somewhat directly related to the AI, is that the AI's attack movement Or actually, attack movement in general was broken.
Yeah.
So
For the AI?
yeah, in general. So also for the AI. And the AI makes use of attack move all the time, so it really broke them. And that is in the current version, so that needs to be hotfixed.
I actually
And so,
think I noticed that, but I thought I was doing something wrong. I was playing as the Highlands and I did an attack move order, and I think they were walking past enemies. But I thought I
yeah,
didn't realize it was a bug. I thought I like was just doing something wrong by accident.
it's it has to do with the way that I fixed or wrote in the formation checks for when they get stuck, and that was somewhat conflicting with the way that the attacking also worked, or the attack move worked. So basically, the AI also was ignoring their attack movements, and so it was really, you could really notice it.
Right.
And so I fixed those few things, and I looked at the Grudo AI files as well with regards to their population and when they build stuff in their config file. And so it needs a little bit more work, but it's once again at a point where it's a lot better than what the current version is already offering. So, but I'm planning to do the Hylians again next, and then I was debating on whether I should go to Gorons next or to Zora.
I would say the
Uh,
AI is like the most important thing in the game, so I definitely am fine with you doing the AI.
well, that was the whole thing. I don't want to do AI for factions that don't have their balancing yet.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
most of them.
So, so I was going over it with Ascaris very briefly, and Ascaris was of the opinion to do Zora first because they're more similar. But I don't know what
I
Discus
started
would
with
think.
Gorons, so
We
Oh,
should.
he wants Gorons.
Yeah,
yeah,
the
you told me to
Gorons.
go with
I
Gorons.
think the Gorons work pretty much as intended. Where the Zora, we still the way their aqueducts work is still up in the air.
Yeah, but I think he's also referring to the fact that that we're reworking the technologies.
Yeah.
So the AI needs to consider that too, right? Or is that
I am
not?
already considering that. Well, I basically told another thing I did for the AI right now is I told them to ignore building towers because I don't really see the value in them. For the Gerudo, for example, I'm not sure if this was on purpose, but the Gerudo towers don't deal any damage unless you.
They don't?
I guess
That's
they're
an
just
accident.
for
Are they bugged?
they just don't do
There's
damage.
deal
They,
zero
they,
damage. That's definitely a mistake. They should do some
there's no
damage.
attack. There's no attack on them.
Oh, there's no attack at
So
all. Well, that's a
Oh,
no.
mistake.
oh, do you mean the wait? Hold on, which tower? Because they got two towers.
Uh, Not the actual, full on watchtower, like the guard tower.
The stone one.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's a bug
That's a
because
bug.
they're supposed to do do stuff.
So I disabled them building towers because it's kind of useless.
Sure.
Um,
I mean, the mod is riddled with this kind of stuff, so just gotta weed them all out.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Thanks
know
for
that
thanks
there are
for
a
mentioning.
few other little things I still need to adapt, and Ascaris brought up a few issues with the AI, mostly that on larger maps and with multiple presence, sometimes they don't really, how to
Do any
say,
or
the AI like stops building sometimes.
yeah,
That was
they
your
don't
criticism.
advance. They build one or two buildings and then they just do nothing more.
Sometimes it has to do with, or most of the time when that happens, it has to do with the fact that there's not enough space for them to build on.
Even though it's on larger maps.
There,
Yeah, but space within their territory. I mean,
Okay, that's
there
interesting.
is.
Oh, within their starting territory. I did have that
yeah.
problem with the go when I tried to adapt your AI to the Goma. I had to tweak with the values of their hive nodes so that yeah. Yeah, their starting territory. Got it.
And I've seen that happen a few times. Honestly, like the AI doesn't know how to capture civil center nodes yet, but civil center nodes are one of those things which are cool and all, but they don't really have a huge impact on the gameplay yet because the entire meta is still in the air. So
Yeah.
there's no,
And we're still kind of fiddling around with the nodes.
yeah, that's the whole thing. So I don't really see as a player from that perspective thinking when would I really want to capture a new civil center. I don't really find a good enough reason for the Gerudo, for example, to do that at the moment.
I mean, generally the idea is if you run out of resources.
Fair
So
enough.
at
Which
least in your environment, right?
which
So
reminds me, Odysseus, we didn't do the resources.
yeah,
I
we
know you
didn't.
wanted to reduce the amount all
Partially,
the sources have.
I think we reduced them, reduced some of them.
If
The
you did, I
rupees are.
wasn't aware of it. That's cool.
I did something like this, I think, a while ago, but I forgot to lower the rupees. That I
Yeah,
know.
I think actually, I don't remember if it was you or the group I discussed it with. For the rupees, I was actually thinking that the rupees you actually harvest with workers would be really rare, and the most common source of rupees is capturing ruins on the map, and then they slowly generate rupees, or maybe you garrison workers inside the ruins and they gather rupees inside of them. It'd make the
Yeah,
ruins a little more useful for people other than the Darknuts.
yeah.
And
I
then
mean,
people would fight over them to get rupees.
you can build the. Can't you build the armos from the
Yes,
ruins?
you can. But
Or
there's not
all
really a
of
lot
them?
of Armos in the game right now, so it's kind of just like one unit.
Yeah. We'll see. Okay.
My nose is
This is the
so
kind of
stuffy now.
thing that seems kind of trivial, but once you change it, it turns out to be busted. Because
Yeah.
we obviously we want to give players a source of rupees in a relative comfort to their base, like inside of their territory, maybe at best. Um, but then they run out, so you have to go out into the map and search for stuff. And
Yeah.
with other factions, you want to do that beforehand. You want to control the map.
Yeah, well, it's an RTS, so you can't win
So
without controlling the map. Unless it's
yeah,
Supreme Commander.
I mean that's basically the thing, right? Map control is a fundamental part of RTS.
Unless we turn the game into Subcom. We can just have artillery that shoots all the way across the map.
So another way also could be to just uh, we could kind of rework the ruins, uh, or at least we keep the rupee gathering aspect and then add other stuff to make them a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
I think that would be a simple fix. So people really fight for the ruins, basically. Your ruin
Yeah.
is now my ruin.
Yeah, I would like to do something like that with the ruins so that people fight over them more. Because unless you're the Darknuts, ruins are kind of you. I mean, ruins do give you rupees if you capture them right now, but it's just
Yeah.
better to send all your workers to the
Yeah.
starting rupees at your base because there's like 10,000 of them there, I think.
Yeah, they're kind of superfluous now.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but we're aware
all right, cool.
they'll be fixed eventually.
I mean, I'm sure there's other things I can figure out that can be done with ruins, but right now, and even in the final game, it's mostly the Darknuts that take advantage of them. In fact, if you pick the Black Knight as your hero for the Darknuts, one of his abilities I want for him is that he has visuals on all the ruins on the map at all times, so he can see what's going on at them all, which is actually kind
Mhm.
of powerful.
That's neat.
Um,
It's a neat feature.
yeah, the
Well,
ruins right now are mostly a Darknut thing. The Stalfos will probably take advantage of them a lot too. They could
yeah,
probably like
I'd
dig
say
up corpses from them.
maybe they could function like as forward mini military structures because they raise all the corpses buried in the ruins.
Yeah,
Something crazy like that. But well, we'll see.
we'll see. All
Lots
right,
of
was there
ideas.
any other very specific things you guys wanted to talk about for Hyrule Conquest,
Uh,
or not?
Not
I
not
don't think
not
so.
anymore. Not well. I've said it. I set my bid for the AI that there needs to be a hot fix and stuff.
Yeah, we need a hot fix, I guess. Yeah.
So
I guess I could go into Q&A mode then. Figures with Deox not here, we got through all the topics in like an hour. I don't know, maybe he'll magically pop up soon, and then him and I can
well,
ramble.
maybe one final bit that I would like to address, which is it's been up in the air for a bit. I've talked to Askers about it a few hours ago, and it's still, a rough idea I have in my mind. But there is this whole thing. I'm not going to go into details because it's quite technical, but there is this whole situation with the unit AI where I was thinking about the future of combat.
Okay.
And so I was I was taking a look at how Total War does it, the older ones, medieval and maybe if I'm gonna
Rome?
yeah, well, not Rome, but if I'm gonna refer to more recent Total War games would be Warhammer, I suppose. So I'm just naming examples now, and then once again Battle for Middle-earth, and also a new game that I found, Manor Lords,
Yeah, Manor
the game in
Lords.
development. And I was, of course, that game is still in progress, and it's not even in early access yet. So, but just the idea behind the combat that they have it's very similar to Total War. But I found that the way that it seems to be done in there aligns a little bit more with what we maybe might want to do in the future.
Yeah.
But it's all very
We're just
rough.
basically pilfering ideas from multiple RTS games and blending them together.
Being like RTS DJs, I guess.
Yes. This is
Uh, I
the
would like
biggest RTS mixtape out there.
I want I would like to see a less Age of Empires style combat. I mean, we have battalions, but back then I made the conscious decision to have those units in combat act individually and not as a battalion, for gameplay fluidity. So it plays smoothly, like you don't have weird jacked movements from the previous formation movement that was present and wasn't really optimized for this kind of gameplay. But now, at some point, we really want to move from individual to something more formation battalion-esque. And so I was saying to Ascaris that if I'm going to do that, I have to be very careful about how I implement that, because obviously that's going to fuck up your stats. Because if I'm gonna do a hidden block thingy, and then Ascaris would just say, okay, but then the unit just dies after a few swings, as if you would have it in Medieval 2, where a guy can die after a single swing or maybe two
Yeah, they
swings.
have just 1 or 2 HP, and it's based on
Yeah,
hit chance.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that's gonna completely change the dynamic of gameplay, and
Yeah.
also again the stats. So
I
that's why I
mean,
said I have to be very careful
I,
with
I
that.
I'm not gonna lie with this. Age of we're already straying pretty far from Age of Empires in many regards. We
Yep.
have plots, for example. That's like for an Age of Empire player, that would be a completely
Alien
unknown
concept.
thing. It's like, what the hell is a plot? Then there's battalions, but I do think that we'll always kind of keep that. It's also kind of that feeling because we're basing it off the Zero AD engine. There's the 4 resources. There's the same kind of flat map layout, that you see in the Age of Empire stuff. It
Unless you're
has that
playing on the cliffs of Ontheon, then it's a very vertical map.
sure, but I
That's just
mean,
one example.
Zero AD was inspired by Age of Empires, clearly,
Yeah, it feels a lot
and
like Age of Empires.
and it feels like that as well. So it's kind of hard to ditch that feeling without completely reworking Zero AD, I would say.
I mean, we
Uh,
kind of are completely reworking Zero
but we're
AD.
basically we're kind of doing that already, yeah, in many ways at least.
It's a,
I'm
it's a
just
wonderful engine despite its few weird shortcomings.
I would like the combat to be slower, not in terms of speed, like gameplay speed. But what was the best term to use?
The animations and stuff, you mean?
Yeah, I mean animations.
The
Mostly
animations are tied to the actual speed in the attack section of the template file, which is why I suggested adding a delay feature so that they're like idle for a little bit in between
Yeah.
attacks, and then they have
Yeah.
like an idle attack animation that goes with that.
Yeah, I think that was the idea. And
Yeah.
Ascaris really wants to have. Okay. So when I look at Mana Lords, for example, in Mana Lords, you click on one battalion, clicks on another, or whatever term you want to use for battalion, and they all charge. Well, we don't really have a charge mechanic like that. I don't think we really need that yet, along those lines. But basically, they all charge each other. Then they stand into. There's this unit collision going on, and then the units kind of just stay in place. They kind of jostle back and they jostle back and forth. You know, you see them kick sometimes. Sometimes they're idle. You see them, being frantically focusing on combat.
Yeah.
But they don't always swing. They don't constantly have this loop swing like you see in our Age of Empires style combat at the moment.
Yeah.
But we talked about this a couple of times. It's just pretty much all of us agree here that, on the team at least, that the combat could feel more organic.
Yeah, there needs to be idle delays between attacks.
Like idle delays and
It would especially help with siege stuff too.
and
And
there's some
yeah.
of the kill animations that
I apologize
Exo
for
really
the
wants to
elephant.
Yeah, killing animations, slower combat, so between animations. And Ascaris also wanted to see battalion on battalion fights,
Yeah.
targeting. And if I look at Battle for Middle-earth, for example, then if you really look at when you click to attack, a lot of their units and their battalions as well, they're really fluid. Their individual entities still move about. They don't perfectly stay in formation, because that's not really flexible if they have to stay in perfect formation. It doesn't really work that way.
It's not realistic
So,
either.
no, but I mean, you see the individual entities within the formation, flexibly move about.
Looking at the fighting is fun, at
so-
least.
Yeah.
Basically, it doesn't
but
feel robotic or
If I
repetitive.
put that back into my mind, you also see their units. Their animations are rather moderate, but there's always a little bit of time in between their animations. It's very subtle, but it is definitely there, so it doesn't feel rushed. If you play at 1x speed in Hyrule Conquest, sometimes it feels like they're these robots, like robot soldiers that that use their swinging animations.
Yeah, it's because there's no delay in between their attack animations, because 080 doesn't seem to have that. 080 does have a thing called delay, but it's only right before they do the first attack. So for some reason, it's not between every attack.
Like, I'm sure I can figure something out, but this is a very experimental thing I'm going to be working on again, because this is going to be.
I think
something I'll have
that
to
one
work
thing
out.
alone, like giving a delay between attack setting to all the units, I think that alone will help a lot. Just that.
Yeah.
Well, why the thing with battalion versus battalion combat is not that I think we need to force battalions to keep their formation order all the time, but if, for example, I command my horsemen to attack the enemy bows, I want them to fight those bowmen and not after they killed 3 or 4 bowmen to spread out and fight some random guys that are just nearby. And that's what I'm missing currently, that battalions stay closer together so that I can say, okay, you my battalion A is stronger than my opponent's battalion B, and I want my battalion to actually fight against the other battalion.
I apologize if you guys can hear dogs going crazy in the background. There's like dogs barking like crazy outside.
Well, that is something I also want to focus on. That the commands are going to be more, settled based upon what the input is with regards to commands.
Yeah.
And I've also explained already to Ascaris the way it functions right now, which is it's rather technical, but the entire attack orders right now, they're a little bit skewed. So
Yep.
the combat works and it flows, but as a player, you have to use a lot more micro than you should have to, if you really want them to do what they should be doing. Or at least, let's just say, if you want them to do a very specific thing, it's rather micro intensive due to the way that the current unit AI is rather forceful and intrusive when it comes to what the unit AI wants to do and what the player wants their units to do. So you might be telling your units, okay, I want you to attack these bowmen, and then the unit AI kind of interferes and says like, no, I'm gonna attack this unit because I think it's better. That's what the unit AI is gonna do for you.
We just want to streamline it, basically, make it more fluid.
Yeah.
Just make it so that troops really that you have.
Yeah, don't
you
make
have
it feel
good control.
rushed. And we want to see those damn killing animations.
Yeah, that's a lot of work to do all those animations for all those different units.
Can we find like some kind of 24/7 animation slave?
That's basically what I am. Well, I've
enough.
barely done animations at all this year. It's made me a little bit depressed. The last real cinematic I did was the trailer for the Deku Scrubs and Lizzlefoss like a year ago. I've done little tiny animations here and there, but I haven't been doing what I was born to do in almost a year. So hopefully I can get back to... Well, I have done little animations in Unreal because I was trying to figure out how to get it to work, but nothing super serious.
Right.
So hopefully in the next year I'll be able to go back to that. Hopefully we'll get enough stuff done this year. Now that we got battalions out of the way and some of the bigger things done and out of the way. Anyway, was there anything else you guys wanted to talk about, or should I go into the Q&A now?
I'm good. More or less.
Ascaris and Exo, you guys got all your stuff out of your system, or is there anything else?
I've said my piece.
Alrighty, I guess with that then, for all of you in the audience, I'll probably stick around for 15 minutes to half hour and I guess answer some questions. Sadly, it seems like Deox won't be showing up, so we probably won't be discussing any esoteric weird stuff today. Maybe next weekend him and I will try and do something. So I did see quite a few questions, but now they're kind of lost. So if you guys had questions that I skimmed over, go ahead and post them again. And first question, Codeman, when will you do a collab with Movie Bob? I don't think Movie Bob would ever do a collab with me. I have a feeling he hates me because I'm not wealthy and I'm kind of lower class, and he'd probably want to sterilize me. So I don't think he'd ever do a collab with me. I'd be utterly fascinated to talk with Movie Bob, though, just to find out how he thinks. He's probably, like, my favorite internet lolcow. He's so weird. So how do you suppose you'll add more heroes to the other factions later down the line that have much less major characters? Most of the factions I have planned, I have characters figured out for it, except, funnily enough, the Lizzlefoss. Because there actually are no... canonical Lizalfos characters in any Zelda game for some reason, which I find interesting. The closest there is the Erlfoss in Twilight Princess, but he didn't really have a name or any backstory at all, really. He was just kind of there. But there's a few factions that have like one or two missing heroes that I have planned. We'll see. Let's see what other stuff there is. Is Aghanim still going to be a Majora worshipper in Nephy canon? That is a question I'm actually not entirely sure if I've decided on. A lot of the lore stuff still is a little bit up in the air because Deox and I have to discuss it, and him and I haven't really had any chance to discuss anything in like the last, I want to say 2 months. He's been extremely busy, and I've also been pretty busy, and him and I haven't had a chance to discuss anything. So if I do say anything that sounds conclusive, it might get changed because it's not all finished yet. But
Deox.
yeah, poor Deox. I'm still like I'm expecting to like hear his voice like he was hiding in the chat the whole time like EXO does sometimes.
Yeah.
Second question, what was the first question? Did I miss it? First question, do the Sheikah have a real-world analog for naming schemes? If they do, I haven't figured out what Nintendo's naming scheme for them is, other than, like, Paya, she's named after a fruit. I haven't really been able to figure out what their naming scheme was for the Sheikah, though. It very well, it could be like some Asian thing I'm not familiar with, or it could very well just be them bullshitting like random weird sounding names. Like Maz Koshia almost sounds like a Star Wars name, for example. It just sounds like a weird, I don't know. I'm not sure what their naming scheme for the Sheikah is. Why can't these people follow simple directions? I don't know. I don't have an answer to that question.
Which people?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that question's in reference to. Why can't people follow simple instructions? I don't know. One I guess something kind of related to that. One thing that's always frustrated me is a lot of people always seem to install mods wrong when like I have like instructions for them or EXO's made instructions for them. I can't tell you how many people have come to me saying it's not working, and the problem ended up being them installing it in the wrong location or not installing it right or something. It just seems to be a curse of the internet. Like, people just seem to have problems installing things for some reason, like even simple things. I don't know why. Let's see. Second question, does Bongo have a defined real name, and are you willing to share it? Nah, it's a secret to everyone. Is there some difference between the timelines now and before? I mean, after and before the retcons. Yeah, I've made quite a lot of changes since I decided to kind of restart on everything. There's a lot of stuff that's still the same, but there's a lot of things I changed too. So you want to talk about Star Fox Event Horizon? I bet some people are curious about what's up. I'd be fine with talking about it. If anyone has any questions about it, feel free to ask. I know nowhere near as many people are interested in that as my Zelda stuff, so I almost never really talk about it. Let's see, what is Saria's problem in Fallen Sage? I would kind of probably sum it up with she hasn't really grown up, really. She's kind of stuck in the past, I guess, and then it's kind of forcibly removed from her because she never really was prepared to go out into the world because the Great Deku Tree is a boomer. See, where is Lana from? Calatian. Yes, that's that's a very good guess. Lana is probably Calatian, or one of her ancestors was probably from Calatia. Kind of something I accidentally stumbled into is the Calatians are loosely, like, if you look at their faces, they kind of look like they might have had like Asian descent. Like Link's face is kind of modeled after someone who had an Asian parent. And Lana's face, I outright based her on a Korean celebrity who had plastic surgery, which I thought was fitting for her character. Lana seems like the kind of person who would alter her face to make it.
Seems like the Japanese would disapprove of that.
So yeah, the Calations ethnically are kind of like all the characters that are Calatian. So you can probably guess where Ashley came from too. All the characters that have kind of an Asian semblance, they probably are tied to Galatia in some way. So that was a pretty good guess that Lana's probably connected to Galatia. Anyway, I lost track of the questions now. Let me scroll back up. Will the Sheikah keep their heroes from the Total War game, or will there be some changes? I think they still have all the same heroes from before, plus some new ones. Like a year or two ago, I actually flirted with the idea that Ceres was gonna be a Stalfos hero because of her connection to Dompe, but I ended up abandoning that idea. Ceres ended up being a Hylian hero. Let's see, Impa is in part. Right? Yeah, I think Impa's name is based on that. A lot of the names in all the different Zelda games are actually puns, which really, really annoys me. But it seems actually like in Breath of the Wild, unless I'm like missing something, a lot of the names don't seem to be puns. Although they could be puns in Japanese, I don't know. Let's see. What do you think of Astor, the new character in Age of Calamity? I don't really think anything of him because he doesn't have any background at all. He's like an empty vessel that's just kind of there. Then again, I haven't played the whole game and I haven't seen everything, so maybe there's something I missed, but he just kind of seemed pointless, I guess. It's really too bad Deox isn't here. He could probably add a lot to some of these questions. I know he's played Age of Calamities. And I've talked to him about it like a month or so ago. I talked to him about it for a little while, but let's see. I'm not seeing any more questions unless I'm missing something. Why can't the chat hold their horses with the questions? I don't know. I think I hit the end of the questions. I'm not seeing any more. Oh, I'm seeing some. See, the Sheikah used to be assassins, and now they're sitting mummies. How does that make you feel? Yeah, I'm not sure why the Sheikah have changed so much. They basically, yeah, in the older Zelda games, they were kind of like an order of assassins, and then they became like kind of techno wizards. As far as the mummy things go, I think that's probably some Buddhist influence, which, you know, Zelda's a Japanese game and Buddhism's been part of the Japanese islands for a long time. So it doesn't surprise me that like some Buddhist imagery has creeped into the Zelda games, but I don't know why the Sheikah in the new games are not like they're not like ninja assassins. I don't know why they changed that. It's kind of a weird change. Let's see. Did you nuke the old storyline, and why did you replace it with a new story, and what is better about it? I just felt like I could do better when I was looking back at some stuff, and I thought I could do better because a lot of the old story was like put down over 10 years ago, so it's basically was written by a different person. I'm not really the same person I was 10 years ago, so yeah, hopefully that answers that question. What is better about it? Well, the new stuff hasn't really been finalized. I really need to talk about it with Deox, but my hope is it'll feel a little more focused. Because one of my problems with I guess you could say the old Nephy canon, especially like the Gerudo Wars part, is it's a little bit, there's basically too many characters. So it's kind of a little all over the place. So, yeah. What are you going to do with Astor in your canon? Well, nothing at the moment. He's basically a blank slate, so I guess I could do pretty much anything I wanted with him and it would work. Because he has like no real background. I think he's a fortune teller, and that's he kind of wants to summon Ganon. I think that's basically all there is to him. Breath of the Wild has the most puns of all. Well, they did a good job masking their puns then. Astor does the Agatha challenge. Yeah. I'm a Buddhist, and the only thing they do similar is sit in the lotus position. I'm not an expert on Buddhism, but I do know that fasting to become like a skeletal corpse is part of certain Buddhist traditions. If I remember right, someone who's actually a Buddhist will probably correct me if I'm wrong. If I remember right, the first Buddha like starved himself after he left his castle and started getting exposed to the real world. One of the things he did is he became poor and he started fasting and he starved himself, and sometimes he's portrayed as like a skeletal mummy because of that, and I've suspected that's where the mummy Sheikah came from. But I'm not an expert on Buddhism, so please correct me if I'm wrong. Much more knowledgeable of Western religions. Actually, I know more about Taoism than Buddhism. I've looked into Taoism, but anyway. Just bugs me that the Ninja Sheikah, Monk Sheikah, Yiga, and Ancient Tech Researcher Sheikah no variety for the other races by comparison. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like what they've done with pretty much any other than the Rito. I don't like anything Nintendo's done with any of the cultures basically in the last 10 years. The Rito are the only thing they've done that I kind of like. Oh, full metal! You found. I recognized someone in the chat from another Discord. Oh, hey, Full Metal American. I never expected to see you in one of my streams. I didn't even know you followed me on YouTube. Hi. Interesting. I'm kind of surprised to see him in the chat. So, do you have an estimate when the Majora Church will be in development? They're probably one of the last factions to get in the game, so probably a very long time. I'm sorry. Unless I decide to switch up the order. See, Neph, do you have any ideas for Suga? Nah, I don't. I still haven't... I don't know. I guess I should do more research in Age of Calamity, because I haven't played it, and I really don't want to, but, I don't know, maybe I'll see if there's something I can do for Suga. Deox and I think we have a pretty good idea of what to do for, the latest incarnation of Princess Zelda, though, and the Guardians, but him and I still have to talk about it, but he's been really busy lately, so I haven't really been able to go over it with him, but we think we might have her figured out. I think I have a pretty good idea for her finally. Also, will the expansions be part of the main game? Yes, they're all... I think I've said that in another stream, because I'm not using the Total War... The reason I had it, like, separated into expansions once upon a time is because, the Total War engine had, like, a faction limit. I think it was 30. So I couldn't have all the factions at once. So I kind of, like, split them by theme into, like, little expansions. But Zero AD has no limit. So all the factions are all going to be in the game at the same time. So there's not really a... It's not really expansions anymore. It's kind of just one big thing now. I'm roughly making the factions in the same order that I was going to. Although I talked about doing the Tweely next instead of the Sheikah, but I don't know yet. Anyway. Should probably know a bit more fierce deity. Yes, the fierce deities are actually a thing in Buddhism. And Majora's Mask, in general, has a lot of Buddhist stuff in it, right down to the whole being trapped in, like, this kind of the samsara cycle and everything. Like, Majora's Mask is the most blatantly Buddhist, like, Zelda game in terms of, like, its theme and stuff. And yeah, a fierce deity is an actual thing in Indian mythology, specifically Buddhism. Like, a fierce deity is basically, like, a vengeful spirit that, people kind of like pray to, and it'll like take revenge, or I don't know how you want to word it. It'll try and avenge the people that pray to it that have been wronged. So it's kind of like a vengeful spirit that'll go out and destroy things. Again, if you're an actual Buddhist, if I'm completely wrong about that, go ahead and correct me. Let's see. What is the reason for the new map design? What was your problem with the old one? And do you foresee any problems later down the line? I didn't really have too much of a problem with the old map. Just, there's a few more factions that have kind of been added into the game, and I kind of had to rearrange the map a little bit to fit all of them. Most of the factions are in relatively the same position they were, except for the Moblins. The Moblins were flipped over to the eastern side of the map, which I think fits better because in some of the Zelda games, like they're in the Oracle game, so the Moblins clearly had a lot of contact with Labrynna, so I think it was more appropriate to flip the Moblins over to the eastern side of the map. I think they're the only guys that where their starting position got radically changed. All the island factions, all the ocean factions got rearranged because I spread the Great Sea out around the eastern side of Hyrule, so they all got changed too, I guess. But yeah, these are mostly lore questions. If you guys that are with me, if you don't want to stick around for the questions, you can leave now if you want. I don't know if you want to stay.
I'll probably leave in a bit, but I just want to say that we haven't had a single technical interruption.
Yeah, we haven't had any boomer moments with me cutting out.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle, yeah. I mean, it's happened before. There's been some streams I did with Deox that we made it a whole like 2 or 3 hours without any issues. But yeah, usually I have tons of internet issues. My internet's been pretty good these last few days though, so I wasn't expecting it to be bad today, but you never know.
And then I jinx it.
Yeah, and then watch it. The stream's gonna like cut out in the next 5 minutes. I'm probably gonna wrap up soon though, unless people are like machine gun firing me questions to get through, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah,
There's one question about the Riverzora heroes.
Oh, nice. I'll get to it in a sec. I'm trying to go in order, but I'm a boomer, so it's hard to keep up with the chat. But
well, I guess I'll leave you then.
alrighty. Thank you
It's
for coming on. And
Pretty late.
yeah, it's
here,
really late where you live.
and usually I would be asleep for 2 hours now.
You should go get some sleep then. I'm probably not going to be on much longer. I'm just going to try and answer some questions, and I'll probably, unless by some miracle Deox shows up. But I think the weeb's got him. I don't think he's going to be here today.
Rip Deox.
Poor Deox. He'll be
Press
back
F.
sometime in the
Yeah.
future, and then him and I will psycho babble about esoteric stuff for 4 hours or whatever, like Midna. That's the next thing Deox and I were gonna discuss is how Midna's gonna be redone. But again, haven't been able to talk to him recently. Anyway, I guess we'll see you, Ascaris.
Yeah.
Night night.
Yeah.
See you, man.
See ya.
Good night.
Good night and have fun.
We will certainly try. You too. All right. I think I lost track of the questions. Let me go scroll back up. Okay, I see the Majora question. I answered that one. Still, let's see. There's the expansion question. I answered that one. How are the Akalans? How are the Akalans going to work on the campaign map? I'm not 100% sure. I've had several ideas. The easy one is they're just not on the campaign map because they're so out of time compared to all the other factions. But the other idea I have, which I've had since as far back as Total War, is you'll be able to set like the time period that the campaign map takes place on. So if you set the time period to the time the Akalans were around, like the Hylian, you won't be able to play as the Hylians, but the Akalans will show up as an option. And, you know, the political landscape on the map will be a little bit rearranged to how it was in that time frame. So that's probably one of the solutions I might go for. So yeah. Okay, there's the fierce deity thing. See, apparently I missed Lord Inquisitor Seru's question. I guess ask it again, because I'm probably missing quite a few questions. Okay, there's the map. Okay, that's the last question I answered, was the redesigning the map. Let's see, what are the expansions? I think I talked about that a bit. So Codeman asks, will Low Rule have an inverted version of characters like Saria? I definitely see Low Rule as an inversion of High Rule, so in theory, I guess there would be an inverted version of Saria. See, there is an inverted version of Link and Zelda and Ganondorf and Low Rule, so yeah, I don't have one in mind at the moment of like what would an inverted Saria look like. I guess it'd be Lana. But Lana's not from Low Rule, so I'd have to think on that. So the short answer to your question is yes, there probably would be an inverted version of Saria, but the long answer is I haven't thought about it too much. See, will the new River Zora heroes be OCs or pulled from Nintendo canon? Two of them right now are from Nintendo canon. Actually, three of them. Just there's the River Zora King from A Link to the Past didn't have a name, so I came up with his name. So three of them right now are from Nintendo canon. I don't know about the if I do merge the Perella with them, there'll be four. I haven't decided if the Perella are going to be merged back with the River Zora though, so there might be up to four. Minda is always going to be the narrator. Actually, no, Minda's no longer the narrator. That was something I actually decided to change. Ceres is actually probably going to be the character collecting all of the history this time. So, hey, Wispy Whiskers. Yeah, a long time no see. I haven't done a stream in like 2 or 3 months now, I think. Nice to see you, Wispy Whiskers. Let's see. Demiurgus. It's funny that you're asking a question about Majora and your name has Demiurge in it. It's kind of a funny coincidence. See, I wonder if Majora will still be the big bad, or is there another one you think? I still think Majora is the... if you're looking at the hierarchy and the cosmology of my version of Hyrule, Majora definitely is at the top of that hierarchy still, so to speak, in terms of influence on the world. So yeah, I guess the short answer is Majora still like the big bad in air quotes. Let's see what happens if Onomazon got absorbed by Malice. The same thing that happens to everything absorbed by Malice. Let's see, fierce deities are actually forms of Buddhas, divas, blah blah blah. Yeah, well that's because all the deities are forms of that. All the spirits in at least in Samsara Buddhism. I don't know about. I don't know. I know almost next to nothing about Zen Buddhism. We need Deox here to talk about Zen Buddhism. Oh jeez. Yeah, there's so many questions today. I'm kind of sad Deox isn't here. He'd probably like to participate in some of these questions. They're all like lore questions too. That's his forte. Let me find the last question. Okay, there's the fierce deity thing. My friends made some doodles of your Majora design. Would you like to see? Yeah, I'd love to see any art people make of my stuff. That'd be awesome. I like looking at fan art. I don't get fan art too often, and when I do, it's always really nice just to see people that like my stuff. Also, I could also help you with sound effects for that Star Fox game. Yeah, if you have sound, like I have all of the sound effects from I have the entire sound effect database from Star Fox 64. But if you have like sound effects from Assault or any of the other games, that would be super helpful because I haven't been able to find those. Ugh, my nose is so stuffy today. So Ganondorf doesn't show up during Sulcaris time. He actually might. Again, I really need to talk with Deox. I haven't talked with him about it, but I was actually thinking Nabooru is going to be around as early as the Fallen Sage, so we might Ganondorf is probably be around before the Fallen Sage. But that's something Deox and I need to discuss. Him and I have like so many things to talk about. Like our catalog of things to discuss is built up because I haven't talked to him in almost 2 months now. Him and I have been so busy. Him especially. I think he's been way busier than I have been with this stuff. But anyway, are there any limitations to the Zero AD engine, and would it ever be possible or beneficial to make your own engine? No, the Zero AD engine is open source, so any problems it has can be fixed as long as Ascaris and Exo are around and they have the motivation. We've already added a bunch of features to the engine that weren't in the engine. So at the moment, there's definitely things with it that need to be fixed. Like as an example, Zero AD doesn't support level of detail models, which is kind of strange considering it's an RTS game. And if you're not familiar with what level of detail models or LODs are, basically when the camera is further away from a model, it replaces the model with a lower poly version of the model so that when there's a bunch of things on screen or things that are really distant, it doesn't eat up resources to render the model. So it helps the game. It helps the performance of the game. It helps it run better. And for some reason, Zero AD does not support them, which I think is a weird oversight. Which is why I have the low poly patch for people that have toasters. But that's definitely something bad about Zero AD that I really want to fix. That can be fixed. It's just a matter of the person with the skill fixing it. I'm not a programmer. I'm the artist guy, so that's up to Exo and Ascaris to fix. But that's fine, boss man. Yes, I'm a boomer. I'm probably a boomer by the standards of almost everyone in the chat, even though I'm 30, which isn't... I'm technically a millennial, technically.
There are things that we cannot fix, or maybe it's more accurate to say there are things that we won't fix, because there is a large backend in the engine, which is all based upon C++ code. And if we were to edit that, we would have to completely how would you say?
Recompile.
Yeah, we have to completely recompile the engine. And I haven't really touched the engine with that amount of detail that I would be comfortable completely rebuilding their engine from scratch.
I would have to contact Stan for that.
Recompiling it, and they are also constantly working on that side of the spectrum, so they're constantly making changes every day. There's multiple tickets and changes and feedback going out, so even if we were to make those changes successfully, we'd probably have to do it with very strict communication with the Zero AD team, and I mean, we are already communicating with the Zero AD team relatively closely, actually. We have a few direct channels set up where we chat with them regularly with regards to what we would like to see for the mod and stuff, because I mean, let's face it, we are the most active mod for Zero AD at the moment, so that's rather beneficial that we have some open context there. But most things that we would want to see for Hyrule Conquest, those are things that we can actually edit with the JavaScript code.
Yep.
And if it's related to unit AI or those kind of things in combat and a lot of those other features that we would like to see in Hyrule Conquest, all of that stuff is we can all code that in ourselves. We don't have to wait for Zero AD to do that for us. But I mean, we're just a few passionate modders, so this takes a lot of time and effort to make something that this crazy American wants to put in his modification. That's gonna take us like 30 years to complete.
Yeah, it's probably a lifelong project, but at least there'll always be new stuff.
I don't mind. I've been in it for the long run for a long.
I think you've been around for almost 3 years now. I think I don't know if it's 2 or 3 years. I think it's 3 years.
I'd say like 2. I feel like 2.5. I feel.
I know it was around June and July, and it was when I was working on the Kokiri that you showed up. which I think was in 2017. So I think it's been 3 years.
Yeah, might have been 2017.
Yeah, I think it was in 2017. I think yeah, it's been over 3 years. It doesn't feel like it, that's for sure. All right.
But I mean, we are steadily progressing, and I mean, the team has grown. I mean, we've had
I think about 5
our
or
fair
6 people
share.
now.
I mean, we've had our fair share of difficulties, and I'm sure there gonna be way more difficulties in the future. But at this point in time, we're improving and fixing new things and adding new things to the mod that is at a pace that we haven't seen before. It's just that we've been doing so many little things as well behind the scenes that you don't really see easily. You don't
Yeah.
notice it instantly. And Nephilim hasn't added a new faction in a while, but
Since
maybe that's
March,
just
I
this.
think.
It's
Hopefully, in
just
the
this
next
this
few
kind of,
months, we'll finally see the Stalfos, and depending on your
well,
mood, hopefully we'll see the Sheikah too.
but that's that kind of faction cycle, like you release a new faction and then people are like, all right, let's go into the next faction, like, but there's no substance to it. And right now I feel like we're actually getting to the meat of the game, which
Yep.
is things like gameplay, UI, combat, AI. That's the kind of thing when you start up a match. You have that feeling when you look at your desktop and you're a little bored and you think, you know what, let's play a game of Hyrule Conquest. That's the kind of feeling that you would want to create. I still don't have that feeling when I sit at my desktop, let's play a game of Hyrule Conquest. But I'm beginning to get that feeling a little bit more now because of the UI and all of the gameplay balancing and stuff that's been going on. So I
Yep.
feel more inclined to play a match, like, and actually watch a match unfold and stuff, and
I
and and,
mean,
and enjoy that.
I'm gonna try and get to
Right.
some more questions. They're like building up, and I'm missing them. So, let's see. I'll toss it again. Any issues with fan-made content rooted in your lore? Just want to have a sign off before I pay someone to do. Yeah, you can do stuff based on anything I do. Like, I don't own Zelda, so if you want to make a fan mod or a fan thing of my fan thing, like, by all means go ahead. Just I have a habit of changing my stuff, so don't feel upset if I decide to like completely change something that I set in stone like 2 years ago or something. And I also just noticed I'm getting some internet issues,
Those
so the
words
stream
scare
the
me.
stream might start to cut out soon. You're right. You're right. Odysseus did get jinxed. We went almost 2 hours without any issues, and now my internet's dying.
The bandwidth is gone.
I guess guys in the chat, poodles, if you can hear me still. But let's see if I can find some more questions while my internet tries to reconnect. Let's see. I see someone upset that Min is not going to be the narrator. We'll steal. Deox and I, literally the next thing Deox and I are going to discuss is all about Midna. We haven't had time to do it, so I'm not going to say too much about Midna right now. I don't even know if people heard me on that. I'm seeing a bunch of poodles, so I guess people can still hear me. Let's see. Ugh, my nose is so stuffy today, it's getting really annoying. Let's see. I could help. I hope I get the assault ones. Actually recreated the classic. Nice. I do have the gold ring sound from Star Fox. Actually, it's in the release I just released the other day. But yeah, if you could find the sounds from Assault, I have some of the sounds from Adventures, but if you could find the sounds for Assault, that'd be awesome, because I can't find the sound effects from that game. See, does Bellum represent hunger or greed or both? And why is he below fear and malice? I would definitely say Bellum is connected to hunger. The thing about abstract principles is they're kind of vague by their nature because they're abstract. It's the beings that embody them in reality that kind of give them their form and stuff. So the people that embody Bellum in the world, you know, the River Zora, they're cannibals. They're connected to eating things. So obviously Bellum would be more connected to hunger. As far as why he would be like below Malice, it's because there's no getting around it. Like, we kind of look at Hyrule through the eyes of the Hylians, and for whatever reason, to the Hylians, they just see Malice as something more what's the word I'm looking for? Now I'm going into esoteric territory. It's too bad Deox isn't here. They see Malice as just something more, I guess you could say more abstract than Bellum, something higher in that cosmological hierarchy, in their own experience of the world. And it seems like that's even the case in Nintendo's canon. In Breath of the Wild, it seems like Malice is something that's cosmologically like pretty high in their hierarchy, higher than even Demise, which I roll my eyes at, but you know, whatever, they can do what they want, I guess. Let's see, what's Skull Kid's role in the Church of Majora anyway? I actually think I had a really, really good idea for Skull Kid like just a week ago, and I briefly talked about it with someone else in my Discord. I need to bring it up to Deoxo. I think I actually have a really good idea for Skull Kid, but I'm not gonna talk about it just yet. Let's see. I want to give you fan art, but I only got my Canon Hylia. Actually, I think someone's sending me links to a bunch of art right now. I'll look at them when the stream's over. I want to get through I'm actually probably going to have to only answer a few more questions because my internet's dying and I'm actually getting a little bit tired. Does this guy have a Discord or something? Yes, I posted the link earlier and I will get the link again. There is a link to the Discord for those that missed it earlier.
I think I'll head out then.
Yeah, I'll answer like one or two more questions and then I'm gonna probably wrap it up. But it was nice talking to you again, Odysseus. I'll try and talk to you again sometime this week as soon as I have an opportunity. If tomorrow works out, sure. I have no idea what's going on tomorrow though, but yeah, if tomorrow works out, sure.
All right.
Definitely not Monday though. I'm gonna be gone on Monday.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, thanks for having me.
All right, see ya.
And, happy holidays to the rest of y'all.
Happy holidays.
All right, man.
Ciao.
See ya.
Let's see. There's also an alternate page. Oh, that's not a question. Is stealth in the engine already? Why don't you answer that question, Exo?
Stealth will be delayed until 2022.
He has worked on stealth, but he's being really cheeky about finishing it, so that's the answer to that question. Let's see, Neph,
Where
are
was
you
that
okay?
question, by the way? I didn't even see that.
Let's see, Neph, are you okay with artists using some of your ideas? Yeah, you can use any of my ideas you want. I would appreciate. Someone asked a similar question earlier, and I didn't specify. I would appreciate credit, but it's not really necessary because again, I don't own Zelda. Like, I could be shut down like instantly by Nintendo if they really wanted. So you don't really need permission from me to use, I guess, Nintendo stuff. Yeah, we've got tons and tons of questions today. I think this is the biggest like Q&A session I've ever done. See, I'm not gonna answer that question I just read. See, did Nintendo ever contact you guys? No, I haven't. I've never heard from them ever. If they have tried to contact me, I haven't seen it. No, as far as I know, no one officially from Nintendo has ever tried to contact me at all. Speaking of Space Marines, has the team ever thought of taking a page out of Dawn of War's battalions? Battalions are actually in the game now. And it's deep strike mechanic where some troops can garrison in buildings. The Oka will basically deep strike as you're describing, but battalions are in the engine right now. All the units are trained in battalions, so And someone before him asked how the campaign map will work. Probably like in the Total War games. So let's see. I'm probably going to wrap it up. We'll do one or two more questions. I like the crystal art. Thank you. Not many people like that particular character, so I mean, some people do, but not that many people like Star Fox in general. The game has like such a bad stigma, and Nintendo's basically killed that franchise. All right, I think that's probably a good place to end it. I guess I'll try and do streams more often because I haven't done one in I think 2 or 3 months. Hopefully next week or the week after or whenever I can get Deox on and him and I can do a stream. I feel like him and I are better at answering all the questions and stuff that people have because he kind of like knows my stuff almost better than I do sometimes because I'm kind of like overloaded and like not focused, but he memorizes things and like puts things down, so he's usually able to answer things better than me sometimes, which is funny because it's kind of my mod and not his. But anyway, I don't know if you're still there, EXO, but it was nice having you on.
Yeah, I'll be going to bed.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Really,
end the stream now, and I'm probably gonna eat
absolutely
something.
exhausted.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully you enjoyed the stream. We managed to go for just over 2 hours, which is pretty good. So, I don't know when the next stream will be, but go ahead and download the new version of Hyrule Conquest. And if you're one of the 3 people that care, go ahead and download the new version of my Star Fox game. And I'll post the link to the Discord one more time for people interested, and then I am gonna go eat dinner. And yeah, I hope all you guys had a good Christmas too, and have a good one.